What up, YouTube? It's your boy CJ3, aka the Gym Slasher, back again with yet another video. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, comment, share. Let's get into all of that. Without further ado, we're just gonna get right in. You read thumbnail, Lamar Jackson, Joy and Pain. I just want to go over. This has kind of been in my head for a couple of days. I was going back and forth if I wanted to put this video out because it's a little off of what I do, but it's still sports related. It's getting into the mind psyche. But I just want to elaborate on this in terms of what goes on when you want something so bad and you do the right things to put yourself in position to get what you believe you earned, right? And what happens to your psyche when you don't get it, right? And that pain. And joy and pain are synonymous with each other. You don't want to, obviously, you don't want to go through a lot of pain because that would probably mean that you haven't quite figured it out yet. So that's why you keep bumping your head. But in retrospect, you go through some of that fire, that pain, to get to that joy. And when you achieve what you have, that joy feels good. Joy wouldn't feel as good if it wasn't for pain, or seeing somebody else go through that pain and you go through that and enjoy that joy. For Lamar Jackson, I know he's had criticism, and people still are rooting for him. And just by listening and reading the media and reading books or reading magazines, looking at magazines and books and all that, people are kind of in between with Lamar Jackson, if you will. It's about 50-50 on either side. It seemed like maybe 45-55 or 60-40, positive and negative. For myself, I am a huge fan of Lamar Jackson. I'm a Rams fan. I'm an LA Rams fan. When they came back to LA, my heart came back with them. Raiders left from Oakland, from LA to Oakland to LA, back to Oakland, and then went to Vegas. I had to put them on the shelf and regain my love for the Rams at that point. Being that I still have so many favorite athletes and players that I love to follow, from basketball to football to other sports and other avenues of artistry. And Lamar Jackson is one of those guys that I'm a big fan of. So this is not necessarily biased in terms of the topic, but just he's a perfect illustration of what I've seen and I've encountered personally, that I've seen through others and other athletes alike. For some people, just in general, for some people, we have to go through a little bit more pain than others, right? You got to go through that just a little bit more. And even if it means, that you put the work in and you did all of what's right, and you put yourself in position and you fall short. It is more mental than it is physical to get through that pain, right? Because you're telling yourself, what else can I do? And looking at the ending of that game with the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, and you can it's like you can see it in his face, and you could read it in his head and internal, that for me, and I could be completely wrong and I could be completely off base, and people that may know Lamar Jackson can come on and comment and go, "You're dead wrong, you don't know what you're talking about." And sure, maybe that'd be the case, but for me, you can see the fight, this can't be happening, like, not again. And I could see you could tell that it's playing in his brain like, man, I know y'all gonna light me up on the media for this, you know, for here from the off season going into next season. What else can I do? You know, you could tell that that was going on as the game was going, but he's such a great player. You could see him turn it off when he got that opportunity for their Baltimore Ravens final drive, and he gets the touchdown. He's going for two. They got the right play, the right player to make the right play. And like the commentary said, like everybody else said, like 99 other times that tight end makes that catch. And it's tied game, and now defense got to step up to keep, you know, Josh Allen from driving down and either getting a field goal to win the game or a touchdown. The fact that that was a drop pass and essentially ending the game with a missed onside kick, you know, you knew he felt the weight on his shoulders just got heavier. And, you know, as a competitor, as an athlete, as a former athlete in that regard, as a competitor, as a forever competitor, like I said, I'm always compete, you know, and I have come up short in you know, professional wise, career wise from times, and the mental game you play is the most difficult to get over. The physical aspect of it, you know, he's going to train like he's never trained before. He's going to continue his training regimen. You know, he's going to practice and do all the things to take care of his body, the exterior. It's more the mental that is going to have the biggest training he's going to have to endure. And, you know, looking at a lot of interviews from Lamar Jackson and how he presents himself, it seems like he keeps his circle very tight, very small. So I believe he's going to have a good, strong family, you know, friend, love circle. They're going to ensure that he gets the praise and the love and the affirmations that he deserved, he earned, you know. But at the end of the day, when he rests his head, it's going to be him in his mind, racing through plays, racing through what he could have done here, what he could have done there. Should he have done this? Should he have done that? You know, and as much as he may not want to, much as he may not care about the naysayers, you know, the media pundits and sports analysts and you know, radio jockeys and you know, color commentary people and sports talk shows and all that, he's still going to hear it. And right now, it's going to be pretty similar right now because you still got four teams, you know, the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship, and then the Super Bowl. It's when that stuff is done, not to mention you got Kendrick halftime show, which I can't wait for on top of that. So he's got some time before all of that is done. And then they start talking about the offseason and teams and who's next in line and, you know, the odds of getting to the Super Bowl. Baltimore Ravens is going to be right back there in the thick of things. It's going to be at that time where he's going to be in his head and questioning what can he do different. If this message ever get to him or to anyone like him or people that have gone through this or is going through this, I have gone through this. I can tell you, you have to keep doing what you've been doing because you're not doing anything wrong. You can't control everything. All of what you can control is you. And the biggest weapon you have is your mind, is what you tell yourself, is what you place in your mind, and then to apply what you placed in your mind. So in other words, what I'm saying is take that pain and then reflect on what you could have done different, reflect on what you've done well. Look at your body of work. Don't forget who you are, and keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. In other words, if Steph Curry, let me give you an example on basketball. Steph Curry, one of the greatest shooters and basketball players of all time, he's up there. Whether you want to argue it or debate it, I don't care. He's up there. He's in that upper echelon. 4 championships, MVPs, All Stars, All NBA, you name it, and he's got almost every 3-point shooting record known to the NBA. And if he's not got all of them, he's pretty much one or two, along with James Harden and a couple other 3-point specialists and experts. If Steph Curry goes, let's say in a game, hypothetical, 2 for 7 from three, and you know 10 out of 28 from the field, it's not really a good statistical um, game, right? Didn't shoot well. Should Steph Curry alter his shot and say, you know what, I'm gonna change how I shoot, moving in because I didn't have a good game? Or let's say he had a shooting slump for a couple of weeks. Should he just erase everything that he was doing in terms of his shot and the way he shoots and all of that? No. If anything, keep doing what you have been doing. You're just a little off. Maybe a touch here, and his form, maybe just his elbow is just a little this and that. But overall, should he flip everything that he's doing to say, okay, to get out of the shooting slump, I need to do this? No, especially not in game or not in season. But even if he had an off season, you can still take a day, take some time to reflect and go, okay, what I could have done differently and what I not have done differently. And it could be a bevy of things, but we can all look at it and tell it his shot, that ain't going to be something that needs to be changed. But, there's other avenues that he can. But Steph Curry is just not going to stop and just flip and change and start doing something different. Great players tend to figure out what works and what's not going to work. But their blueprint, the essence of who they are, is going to stay the same. He's not going to go, you know what, I'm not shooting any more threes from now on. I'm going to drive to the basket, and then that's it. I'm going to shoot mid-range, and I'm not going to touch the three-point line ever again because I had a bad shooting slump that month, or my shooting wasn't that good this year. Statistically speaking, it wasn't that good year. So I'm not going to shoot threes. Like, don't go so far in the extreme. Lamar Jackson is the same thing. I don't, there's not anything in terms of glaringly that he would need to change in terms of how he presents himself on the field, how he plays, how his leadership. You can see that state, that city, Baltimore, and that franchise loves Lamar Jackson and rallies behind him. What I would suggest for Lamar Jackson to do, like I said, is to keep doing what he's doing. Don't go too far on one right end or too far on the left end to make all these other kind of configurations. You are right there. Just simply keep pushing and doing what you're doing. This is not some, well, what's the definition of insanity? Repeating the same behavior, expecting different results. That applies to a negative behavior. He's not doing anything negative. He might win his third MVP at the end of this season. He's got two, one of them unanimous. He's got two MVPs. He's arguably one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best players in the game. Between Patrick Mahomes and himself and Josh Allen, you're starting to throw these other quarterbacks in there that's in that mix. He's right there, right along with them. So it's not some, okay, he's insane because he's doing bad things. He's not, there's nothing bad that he is doing. You know what I'm saying? In terms of his position, in terms of what he does. So that's where I'm saying there's no reason for him to make an adverse change in terms of his physical acumen and the things that he do. It's more so now it's here. You've had plenty of players in his sport and in relative to other sports that some just don't have the same fortune as other players. You know, Tom Brady was winning early, right? Couple of years in, and boom, Drew Bledsoe got injured. Tom Brady comes in, and the rest is history. Kobe Bryant, right? Rest his soul. You know, rookie came in a couple of years. By year 2000, he's winning a trophy. About maybe 4 years before Jordan won his first trophy, which was his eighth or ninth season. LeBron took some time, his eighth or ninth season to get a trophy. John Elway nearly took him to the end of his career to finally hold that trophy up, twice. Took 15, almost 15 seasons or so, give or take. So you see greats that either had the fortune of winning while they're young and kept that going, and some that had to get through some mountains to get there. But the joy for both is about equal. But that individual internal joy, Lamar is going to enjoy a lot more because that endurance of that pain that he went through, and to finally get that, internally he's going to love that chance and that opportunity. He just and let me throw in Patrick Mahomes, right? He's 7 straight AFC championship games that he's benefiting from. Been to the Super Bowl 4 times. You know what I'm saying? And so he's on the verge of potentially winning a third straight. So he's seeing the fruits of his labor at an earlier, faster time, where you're seeing Lamar Jackson having to endure a lot of pain, a lot of anguish to get there. But when he gets there, and I genuinely believe he will get there to the Super Bowl. And now, whether if he win it or not, who knows who's he playing against and who he's up against. But I think his greatness and his drive, and as long as he mentally keeps that going and don't completely deviate from what he is and what he done, because you see the greatness and he gets rewarded and has been rewarded for his greatness because he's earned it. I just hope that he don't mentally check out because of his peers are in those levels of winning championships. His peers are in those levels of getting to the Super Bowl and going to conference championship games and stuff. And I don't want him to feel like, dang, everybody's passing me by. Life is a trip for a lot of us. And like I said, for myself, I remember, going for a position that I my tail worked my tail on, and I didn't get it at that time. And it hurt. It was devastating. And it took approximately about a full year to come around, and the opportunity came back. But during that time, because I didn't go off in the mental deep end, like, you could be there but not be there, right? But I didn't let myself go, because in my back of my mind I knew I would get another opportunity. And what I do during the time of not seeing that to the time that opportunity presents itself again, I knew I had to be mentally locked in and ready and continue to do the work that got me to that point where I was right at that door and it closed on me. But if I continue to keep putting in the work and putting that ownership on myself and continue to work and mentally lock in, that I knew eventually that door may open again. And if it was, I'm going to be ready for it. And that did happen. And I was ready for it. And it wasn't so much of a, for myself, when I did, it wasn't so much of it was a joy, but it was I told you I can do this, and I knew I could do this. You know what I'm saying? In my head, mentally. You know what I'm saying? So I think for Lamar Jackson, he's not going to get externally overly overjoyed when he gets there. He's going to be like, I knew I can do this from jump. So, I'm happy. I'm glad I got this. I'm glad I won. But I'm not going to be over the top because I know I put the work in. So I earned this. It wasn't given to me, it wasn't handed to me, it was earned. So for Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Raven fans, you know, just the fans of football, and that I would say to Lamar, man, just keep going, man. Keep doing what you've been doing, and keep cracking that, keep cracking that mountain, and eventually, I believe you will get there. And you got the right nucleus around you, your family, your extended family, your coworkers, the place where you work at, all have love for you and all believe in you. And for anyone that's going through and put the work in and they feel like they should have earned what they had and you didn't get it, my best advice to give you is to keep the same thing going, because you've been earning those rights to get to that level, and you control what you can control. What you can control is you. What you control is up here, and how you set those two things together and keep going. It's very hard to take a lot. It's very hard to lose a lot. You tend to not lose as much. And even with Lamar Jackson, you see his records and see his teams, and they don't lose that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, just in general, he don't lose much because of what he does. But you also got to understand, you can run into somebody that got just as equal as much of want like you. Josh Allen is a perfect example of who he was going against, have just the same amount of pressure that Lamar Jackson has, right? Of, can you win the big one? Can you win that championship? Can you get to the Super Bowl? Can you beat that bad man from KC, number 15, Patrick Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs? He's right now going through what Lamar Jackson is going through simultaneously. Both of these gentlemen are going through this right now. Both of them are hungry for that win. Both of them hear the noises and stuff. So Josh Allen is not over with him. If Patrick wins this, he's going to have just as much of a long season as Lamar Jackson is. And, I thought it was rather unique and cool to see them embrace at the end, because I think both of them want to see each other succeed. It's just unfortunate that they have to go through, each other for one of them to make it, for one of them to get there. So I thought that was kind of ironic to see that, I thought it was pretty cool to see that they both know the pressure it takes to try to get to that next level. And I could tell they both are rooting for each other, even though they're highly competitive with each other. But you see the hunger for both of them. And it was just as equal. There was no one more than the other. So it was going to be a tough loss for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, just as much as it was a tough loss for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. But that being said, you got to keep pursuing. And if you know you're doing the right thing, you are getting these many rewards of what you are doing. And people do recognize your work and what you're putting in. And you can't control everything. You can't control everybody, but you got to continue just to keep pushing forward and working. And if you're in your own professional aspect of it, if you've gone as high up as far as you can, then it's time maybe to start looking elsewhere to see what else is out there who will appreciate your service and appreciate your work. But trust and believe there will be a door that's open. That door will open. Now, how wide it's going to open, that's for that situation to present itself. But that door will open, and will you be prepared not only to get through that door, but when that title is given to you, do you know how to use it? Do you know how to stand on that? Everybody wants that championship, but when that belt comes around your waist, do you know how to act as a champion? So that's the next level, and that's another topic for another day. But with that being said, I think Lamar Jackson is in a good place. I think if he looks at his body of work, he knows he put the work in, and he's got the circle to keep him locked in. He's gonna be all right. I just want him to mentally keep that locked in of your greatness, and don't forget that. And then there's things you just simply can't control, and that's just what it is, especially in football, And so I didn't mean for this video to go as long as it did, but I just hope that this message get to someone, and it helps them get through whatever they need to get through, don't forget their own greatness, as long as you are actually putting in the work to be great. That's the biggest caveat that I say in terms of being great. You're actually putting in the work, and you can live with taking losses because they're not going to be many of them. And then you know that there's things that you can't control and things you can control. So with that being said, who are you? What's your mission? Let me know. Is this a brick? Is this a make basket? It's a basket or a brick. Let me know. I appreciate you guys. I'm out of here. It's CJ3, aka the Gym Stasher. You can reach me on Instagram. I got Cash App down there. I got all kinds of stuff. Not really, just a couple of things. But appreciate you. One, take care.